Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, from his hovel somewhere in East London is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Well, Alex, first of all, let me just correct you on two things there. First of all, it's not really a hovel, it's more of a...
dwelling.
Dwelling, yeah, I prefer that. And also, I'm technically Essex, but apart from those two factual inaccuracies, yeah, I'm not too bad.
Good. Rob, as we continue this podcast, I can't really see you properly because there's some... There we are, yeah. I wondered what that was. It looks a bit like a whip obscuring the screen there, Rob. I don't know if you keep a whip lying around on the kitchen.
That's safely under the table.
Oh, okay. And would you believe it, Rob? This is episode 299 now, and we are recording for the fastidious amongst you, because I know many out there of you are, on the 13th of January. Is it Monday today? Yes, it is Monday. Monday the 13th of January, 2020, Rob. That's
right, yeah. It's a new year. So far it's been very mixed. It's been very similar to the old year, really, and all the years prior to that. But any resolutions this year?
I thought we discussed that on the last podcast, Rob.
Did we? I can't remember now. What did we say?
We spent a whole end segment coming up with our resolutions. But maybe your resolution could be to pay fucking attention. Anyway.
I mean, from the man who can barely remember what episode we're recording, I think that's quite rich.
Yeah, all the names of our listeners. Very true. Rob. Rob, could you tell me if there's any news, podcast-related news the listeners are eager to know?
Well, I just put a message on Facebook to say there would be a short delay. I said you were feeling slightly under the weather, and also just to mention that it looks like that the trip to Eagle Heights is in the offing. It still requires a little planning on our part, but people seem very excited by that.
Yeah, we're planning to go when it's a bit warmer, basically. So it won't be for the 300th episode, but it will be like some point in the spring, I think. And it'll be a fun day out, Rob.
I think it will be, yeah.
I do think we should also consider maybe staying in a B&B, like Bert and Ernie style.
I mean, any opportunity, Alex, any opportunity.
Yeah. Anything else, or can I start? There's so much to get through.
No, let's just make a start this week.
Okay, so, Rob, as I said to you off air, there have been so many, since we last recorded, I have found so many stories to the point where I have way too many than I can cover. So I'm just going to have to hope they slow down a bit, because they all need to be reported on, Rob. Every single one of these has to be told. The first story I have this week, look, my opening segment, but I think there's a theme running through it, but we'll leave the listeners to work out what this is. My opening piece, Rob, is from the Associated Press.
Right, okay.
I came across this story and I just had to read it out. December the 31st, it was the day before New Year's Day, 2019. Only a small story, but intriguing. At least 20 llamas stolen from Southern California property.
Right, okay, yeah.
This was in California, where authorities say at least 20 llamas were stolen from a Southern California property that had been targeted on social media by what officials said were unfounded claims of animal mistreatment.
Right. So, sorry, the farm had been mistreating the llamas?
I think basically people on social media had been erroneously suggesting that this farm were mistreating the llamas and so broke in there and stole them.
Fair enough. I mean, so obviously someone's been, I imagine, a good Samaritan in this situation and has liberated these llamas from this cruel treatment.
Llama liberation. I like that as a phrase.
Mm.
I feel like that could be some sort of trendy alternative clothing shop in Soho.
Yeah, absolutely. Where all the clothes are made out of imitation llama.
Maybe. Riverside County Sheriff's deputies were called to the 14-acre property near the city of Paris early morning after llamas and emus were seen walking along the road.
Interesting. Okay.
The animals were returned to the site, but authorities found a lock had been cut and between 20 and 30 llamas were stolen. The property had been targeted on social media with allegations that llamas, ostriches, and other animals kept there were being mistreated. John Welsh, a spokesman for the Riverside County Department of Animal Services, said officers visited the site and determined that allegations were unfounded. Now, I want to know how that works, right? So he turns up, speaks to the owner, says, "Oi, mate, people are saying on Twitter that you're, beating up the llamas and the ostriches and the other animals. And the guy just goes, "Nah, not doing that, mate. Not doing anything like that. I keep them, I treat them well." And he just says, "All right, fine," and leaves. I mean, how do you ascertain this? You can't interview the llamas, can you?
Why not? Why could you not separate the llamas, put them in a room, and just have a one-on-one conversation with them, and try to in some way indicate or ask them to show you where the bad man hit you?
Exactly. Well, he said it's not a well-kept property, but we don't have any evidence of animal abuse or neglect. A group that posted a video of the property on social media claimed to be planning a mass rescue, but did not respond to an email inquiry sent Monday by the newspaper. And 2 caretakers live on the property. So, Rob, just keep this statistic in mind. So on this farm, there are 2 people who work there. How many animals do you think they look after?
Well, I mean, if there's 20 llamas, I'm going to hazard guess, I should say, 60?
350 animals they look after. Now, how can 2 people look after 350 animals without those animals being neglected? Wouldn't that be your question?
Yeah, it sounds like the people on social media may have had a point. Yeah. Because these are high maintenance animals as well. We're not talking rabbits where you can just shove them in a bin.
They're very demanding, llamas, Rob. They're very demanding, like you said, very high maintenance. They want the nicest things, the latest sort of designer stuff. And they just pester you to take them out and do stuff. They're never happy.
Absolutely, it's like emus. It's all about the show to them. It's they're walking around showing off their feathers to everyone who could possibly give them attention. It's quite disgusting, really.
The other idea I had, of course, was that these llamas were stolen for some other purpose, Rob.
Okay, let's go on, Alex. Why were they stolen?
Well, no, I'm asking you. I mean, there might be a market out there, a sort of underground, deep web market for llama brides.
Oh my! See, I honestly thought you were going to use
llamabride.com.
I was concerned that the next sentence would involve the phrase sex ring, but maybe I was wrong in this situation.
Well, no, you weren't. But I'm not saying it's a sex ring. I'm saying these people there are people out there who want to formally marry and conjugate with llamas legally.
Is there?
That's a question, Rob. Is there anywhere in the world where it's legal to marry a llama?
That's a very good question, Alex.
Can one of our listeners look that up and let us know?
I was about to say, I'm not Googling that, just to make you aware.
Well, Rob, related to that story is a very short story from the Westmoreland Gazette, which I featured last time.
Oh, yeah.
By Celia Powell, from today, which is the 13th of January, as I said. A total of 17 sheep are believed to have been stolen after a suspected raid on a farm. Eden police are appealing for information after a report that Swallowdale sheep, aged between 1 and 4, Rob, were taken somewhere since October 2019 from the Morlestrang area. The sheep all have a red stroke down their near side, and some were marked with a black dot on the fleece. All are tagged with the number UK 103090. And listeners, if anybody has information on those missing sheep, please call 101. Now, Rob, why have those sheep been stolen?
Sometimes I can imagine that
in the lonely winters,
I can imagine a relationship with the llama only goes so far. Sometimes you need that variety. So
yeah, because they're too high maintenance, whereas sheep are much more docile.
Exactly. They're I think a sheep would be more willing to accept your flaws than a llama. A llama would just.
Can I just say, one of the best quotes ever from this podcast over the 299 episodes is, "I think a sheep would be more willing to accept your flaws than a llama." A sheep would also keep you warm in the winter because of its woolly fleece.
Yeah, but to be fair though, I mean, a llama obviously has a woolly head, but then not much else. So yeah, that's why I think someone has entered into a marriage with a llama, realised their mistake, and has gone somewhere to try and rectify this.
So they've annulled the marriage with the llama via annulllamamarriage.com.
Of course.
And then they've gone to sheepbride.com and done it there.
Yeah, or just taken matters into their own hands and, stolen both. Yeah.
Well, Rob, continuing on the sexual theme, which I did sort of allude to earlier, would be stretching throughout my opening segment, if that that sounds like a horrible euphemism.
Yeah, it really
stretching throughout my opening segment.
Please don't. Especially with the webcam on.
This, Rob, is from the Dunfermline Press and West of Fife Advertiser, which is written in very small letters at the bottom, suggesting that two papers amalgamated somewhere. A big merger, Rob.
Yeah, but also, it's slightly random. It's West of Fife. Not West Fife, West of Fife.
Yes, I know. Rob, this is a great story. It's from the 8th of January by Simon Harris. Do you want to hear the headline?
Of course.
Dunfermline couple tells court they saw drunk man appearing to be having sex with a wooden fence.
I've got a story that's very similar to this, although it's not a fence. Interesting. Okay.
Well, a Dunfermline couple have told a court they saw a drunk man committing sex acts in their street in broad daylight. A witness at a trial at Dunfermline Sheriff Court said the man appeared to be having sex with a wooden fence at 7 p.m. on a summer's evening. Rob, what an image. What an evocative image. You can imagine 7 p.m. on a summer's evening, can't you? The sun is still out.
Yep.
It's kind of a nice hazy warmth. And you look out your window and this is what you see. The man also jumped onto the bonnet of a taxi and simulated having sex with it, the driver told the trial. In the dock was David Bruce, 36, now of Bridge Street, Kirkcaldy, formerly of Broomhead Drive, Dunfermline. He denies that on May 25th, at Russell Court, Dunfermline, he committed an offence of public indecency by lowering his trousers and underwear, exposing his genitals, and masturbating repeatedly.
What a lovely image.
He also denies jumping onto the bonnet of a taxi with his trousers down, rubbing his genitals on the vehicle, simulating sexual intercourse, and committing a breach of the peace.
Amazingly, I've got another story which is also incredibly similar to this, but it's not this story.
This is really strange. Kathleen Nisbet, 63, said she heard someone singing outside their house and initially thought it was just a passing football supporter, because that's the kind of thing that happens in Scotland, Rob.
Of course.
That was the day Celtic won the treble, and I thought somebody's happy out there, she said. Then I heard banging and looked outside. There was a man singing at the top of his voice. She said he jumped onto a taxi, simulated sex on the bonnet, made thrusting movements, and by this time his trousers were down. He was wandering about with his trousers at his ankles and then approached a woman. He staggered about, then started masturbating for 2 or 3 minutes, because she timed it. Eventually fell on somebody's path. Her husband, George Nisbet, 76... okay, a 13-year age gap, not too bad. Said he had been walking...
I don't feel that pause was needed.
Said he'd been walking his dog when the incident started and so went back into the house. He then watched from an upstairs window with his wife and saw the drunk man urinating against a wooden fence. He says, Rob, he then started rubbing his private parts up and down on the fence. Now, Rob, you're going to get splinters.
I mean, I'm assuming, like I said, he must have been under the influence, because surely you can't get any sexual gratification from that.
It depends if there's a hole in the fence.
It does, that's very true, yeah, I can't disagree with that.
He then started, and Mr. Nisbet said it was as if he was trying to have sex with the fence. He threw himself in front of a minibus and started rubbing himself on it like he'd been doing with a fence. His trousers fell down and he took a dive on the path of one of the houses. Don Simpson, 47, taxi driver of the 8-seater taxi involved, said, as I turned into the street to pick up a fare, there was a gentleman on the road, obviously intoxicated. He dropped his trousers, they fell to his ankles. He clambered on the bonnet, started simulating sex. His hips were moving back and forwards. Asked to mark the man's state of intoxication out of 10, Mr. Simpson said 8 or 9.
Wow. I mean...
Because you understand, Rob, in Scotland, 8 or 9 is our equivalent of being catatonic. 10, he would have literally been having to shove his dick up the exhaust, Rob.
But I think, though, let's face it, 10 would have been he blacked out, because surely this is a stage before that. There's a stage before he's just K-lined, he's completely comatose, because, 8 or 9 is sticking your cock in a fence.
Yeah. Right, Rob. Last story here, continuing the sexual theme, which is extraordinary. I hope you haven't seen it. It was 2 days ago. I'm reading this from a Sora News 24, Rob, which brings you yesterday's news from Japan and Asia today.
Amazing.
No, Rob, I need you to listen very carefully to that strapline. Bringing you yesterday's news from Japan and Asia today. So their strapline admits they're a day out. See, to me, shouldn't it be bringing you like tomorrow's news today? Do you know what I mean?
But,
bringing you the news from a week ago today.
Do you know why? I appreciate their honesty. I appreciate the fact they've got a unique selling point. They're bringing you old news and presenting it as new news, or just
like
news,
just like local anaesthetic. Rob, this story is extraordinary. Right, I'm not going to read the headline. People are wondering, So bear in mind, this is presumably translated into English from Japanese. People are wondering if any English speakers were consulted before McDonald's chose the name for its new dessert. Have you heard about this, Rob?
No.
You are going to love this story. With so many local and international fast food chains in the country, McDonald's Japan has had a lot of competition to contend with, especially after numerous scandals in the first half of the last decade led to unprecedented deficits for the company. In order to increase their popularity with fast food lovers around the nation, and by the way, Rob, I have checked this out. I can vouch for the veracity of this story. In order to increase their popularity with fast food lovers around the nation, McDonald's Japan has been working hard over the last 5 years, bringing out a slew of new burgers, collaborating with local brands and companies, and even opening a fancy pop-up restaurant with silverware, tablecloths, and wine glasses filled with iced tea. Now they're attempting to grab the spotlight once again with a never-before-seen release, which translates literally into this dessert, an adult cream pie.
Love that. I mean, it's not that bad, is it? I mean, it's quite suggestive, but
I think you need to see the pic. Okay, I think you need to see the pictures of it as well. Can you just put in McDonald's adult cream pie?
Do I want to put this in?
Yes.
Adult cream pie. Okay.
McDonald's. You got to put in McDonald's, Rob.
Oh my God! No, I'm only joking. Oh Jesus Christ!
Right. Listeners, look it up. So Rob, it's called...
Can I describe this? Because I think it's quite easy to describe. So
keep it light, Rob.
Yeah. So if anyone's ever had the McDonald's apple pie, it's that kind of pastry on the outside, and the filling, the filling is as you'd think.
So, Rob, it's officially called the Otona no cream pie, which translates to adult cream pie. So, Otona is a word often used in the Japanese sweets industry to describe confectionery that has less sweetness than regular brands, evoking a sense of high-quality, refined flavour. However, the combination of the word adult and cream pie brings up a whole other imagery entirely for English speakers, which has people questioning whether or not the team consulted with any English language speakers before deciding on the new name. So, then they've released an advert, Rob, which features a young woman and an older woman who's referred to as both teacher and senior. The young woman can be seen asking her teacher, "That cream pie, is it really that delicious?" Which prompts the sensei to turn round and hold the younger woman's face in both hands, saying, "If you eat it once, you'll be filled."
Oh my God.
The two then jump in a cab, ask the driver to take them to the nearest McDonald's, where they'll no doubt be ordering the adult cream pie, which retails, Rob, for $1.37 and comes in the following two flavours: Belgian chocolat and sweet fromage.
I mean, if you ask me...
I don't want to think of a cheesy cream pie, I'll be honest, Rob.
Why do they not... Surely a better name would be a bukkake pie.
Maybe. On Twitter, it's obviously causing a bit of a stir. There's not long to go for the countdown, so they've actually released a countdown time until the adult cream pie becomes available around Japan. They're on sale for a limited time, Rob, from the 15th of January. Regardless of whether the wording was intentional or accidental, it is proving, well, they say it's proving a marketing boon for the fast food giant. I don't know if it is.
Can I just... I would just add that it does actually look quite appetising.
Let's leave that there, Rob.
Fine.
Now, Rob, normally listeners are used to hearing me saying, "Have you got a story for us, Rob?" And whilst you will have a story for us, we have said, haven't we, Rob, that due to the amount of stories Amy is sending in, and one can only assume she's unemployed, we have to feature a segment. I don't know whether to call it Amy's segment, Amy's slot. I quite like Amy's slot. There's no...
Not Amy's slot. No, that conjures images. Which
okay, let's call it Amy's segment.
Amy's segment, yeah.
Can we make up a jingle right now, you and me, just a song? Just Amy's segment, can we sing it?
Yep.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Amy's segment. Okay. What's she contributed, Rob?
So this is from the Liverpool Echo. It is from the 5th of December. So it is a pre-Christmas story, although it's certainly not Christmas related. It's by Jonathan Humphreys, who is the senior reporter. And
not John Humphreys from... Is that what John Humphreys from Radio 4's doing? Because he quit, didn't he? The Today Show. Has he just gone and worked for... Where was this?
The Liverpool Echo. I mean, I feel that's a fall from grace to some extent.
And I'm sure he's got some attachment or historical link to Liverpool. I could be wrong. But maybe he's just gone to work for the Liverpool Echo. He said, you know what, sod this.
Oh, I'm not disparaging. No, what am I trying to say? Yeah, no, I can't remember.
Casting aspersions.
That'll do. Casting aspersions on the Liverpool Echo. I'm sure it's a fine paper that
Rob, I think that's what he's done. He's rocked up and he said, look, I'll do it for half a curly whirly and an adult cream pie.
Yeah, but I have to be a senior reporter. I'm not being a reporter.
Well, exactly. This is John Humphreys. Fair. Okay, good.
So as I said, this is very similar to one of the stories you read before. So the headline: Naked man puts testicles in car bonnet, stopping Merseyside Derby traffic.
So he was trying to hurt himself. That made me wince. Well, he didn't slam them. Okay, let's read the story.
So a naked man has placed his testicles on a car bonnet before bending over in front of stunned drivers on a busy dual carriageway, shocked witnesses said.
I thought he'd opened the bonnet, put the testicles in,
and slammed it. No.
That would be an ingenious way to torture somebody, wouldn't it? By the mob, you strip a guy down, right? So Rob, he's gone against the family, a bit like Prince Harry. Yeah, you strip him down.
Let's not compare the royal family to the mafia.
No, I am. You strip him down.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm going on record. We're never going to get that official. What did I say? That official branding, recommended. What is it? Recommended by the Queen's household.
Oh, by appointment too.
By appointment too. No, I mean, if I don't think we are. And if we were, we've blown it. They strip him naked, Rob. Take him out to outside Sandringham or Windsor or wherever, and they open the bonnet of a Rolls Royce, slop his balls inside, close the bonnet. Or you could do it, actually, it's better to do it in the boot. You do it at the boot, and then you drive around the estate with him being dragged behind. And you wait to see how long it takes for his balls to separate from his body.
Oh, my God. I would be concerned that the force, the bonnet, if you're slamming the bonnet or the boot shut, that you may accidentally sever them from the off.
That's true. I just want to say, but I just actually really, really want to go on record now as saying that I am talking about a fictitious person this happening to, in a revenge attack, a revenge reprisal by the mob, and not the royal family, because I do believe that what I just said could be interpreted as some kind of threat towards Prince Harry, which I believe is a terrorism offence and could land me in jail. So that's not what I meant at all.
At the very least, I think it might be treason. But
yeah.
But that's all on you. I like to distance myself from Alex's comments, and I'm a big royalist myself.
And I've distanced myself from my own comments because.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't even.
I'm sure that'll cover us. So the man, described in his late 20s, was detained by police around 4 p.m. in West Derby Road, Toobrock, close to the KFC restaurant. The incident caused delays on roads already busy, with traffic building up ahead of the Merseyside Derby clash between Liverpool and Everton at Anfield that evening.
Are they sure it was his scrotum and it wasn't just 2 bits of popcorn chicken from the KFC that he put on the bonnet?
Good point. I mean, I think he was fully naked at this point in time.
Maybe he's got crispy balls, Rob, and they look similar.
Maybe they've been in the fryer. You never know. There are a lot of perverts out there. One witness who was driving home from work told the Echo, "I honestly couldn't believe I'd seen that on my drive home. I was driving along the stretch by Iceland and he was running along the carriageway. I thought he was wearing a beige outfit, to be honest, but then he ran in front of the line of traffic. He put his parts on the bonnet of the car next to me. I'd never seen anything like it."
Can I just ask you, Rob, that one of the things that doesn't make sense to me about this story is it referenced very specifically that he put his testicles on there. Now, unless he was missing his penis, I'm assuming that was also part of the deal.
I'm assuming that maybe he'd elevated his penis and just gently lowered his testicles onto the bonnet of the car.
What did you call them? Testicles? What did you call them?
Oh yeah, sorry, it's from Reese and Mortimer. His testicles.
Yeah, I like that.
What would you do? Just think about this, Alice. If you're on the drive home from work,
say you pick because I do drive. Yeah. I am a driver.
Okay,
not for somebody else. I drive myself independently around. I'm not ferrying other people around, just to be clear.
Fair enough. Say if you say you pulled up at the roundabout at the end of Crystal Palace Parade, where it breaks into various lanes. Just imagine if you look to your left.
It's a bloody nightmare.
The driver was just looking absolutely mortified as a naked man was slowly placing his bollocks onto the bonnet of his car.
Oh, I thought you were asking me what do I do if he places the bollocks on my car.
Well, either way, Alex. I mean, yeah. I mean,
If he drops the
situation,
bollock from my car, I put my foot down on the accelerator and drive forward very fast.
Yep, that's probably fair.
But if I see it with somebody else, I think I probably record it.
Well, it's strange you say that. Yeah. So the man continues. Everyone was beeping. I drove past him when I looked back. He was bent over, his bottom in the air, looking between his legs at the traffic.
Oh my dear fucking lord!
Which is quite a bold move, I feel.
Mm.
I
think it's appropriate.
Display.
This was called Amy's segment in the end. I mean, this guy was certainly showing his segment, wasn't he? I mean, what the hell?
Not just his segment, but I think his whole Terrier's chocolate orange. Sorry. A passenger on a bus which was forced to stop by the man, so a crowd of people were stood around taking videos of the incident.
That's what's happened, Nazy. People witness something, a man basically having a mental breakdown, and decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to record this.
But why would you want this? I wouldn't want that on my phone.
No, I'd think to myself, I don't know who would. I'd probably call the police or an ambulance because I think this man is probably not well.
Well, the officers were called at 4 p.m. Patrols attended, detained the man who's been taken to hospital as a precaution, although he has not been detained in the Mental Health Act.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was just pissed. Maybe he did it for a Jake prop. Maybe it was a dare.
Maybe it's just a very quiet day and he just wants some attention. A lot like those llamas.
If that was your car, Rob, would you wash the bonnet afterwards?
I think you'd have to, wouldn't you? I mean, I suppose it depends how sweaty they were, Alex.
Right.
If there were two sweat stains. Okay.
Let's move on. Right, okay. That's Egmi's same segment over. We're closing it. It may or may not return next week. It probably will because she's been submitting so many stories. Right, Rob, have you got a story for us?
I suspect. Yeah, so we're not going too far. We're going to stay in the north. We're going to go to, I mean, I can't refer to it as the sister city because it's really not, but it's the city a few miles away from Liverpool. It's Manchester. So we're going to the Manchester Evening News. This goes back a bit. This is from the 31st of October. I only discovered it very recently on the website.
You only discovered Manchester very recently?
Yeah, I saw it on a map.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. The story is by Amy Walker and Todd Fitzgerald.
Rob, I've got to stop you. I've got to just stop you. Something's really bothering you at the end of your finger, and I can't work out what it is. So I'm watching Rob as he's reading out these stories, listeners, picking and prodding at the end of his finger. Like, I don't know, have you got a splinter there, Rob, or...?
It's a beard hair.
A beard hair trapped in your nail?
In my finger. I shaved this morning and I tend to pit my beard over the course
how
of the
sharp
day.
are your beard hairs to penetrate the skin, Rob?
They're quite, they're lethal, Alex. If I collect enough of them, I can make a rudimentary shiv that would really cause some damage. I don't know why I'd be making a shiv out of my own beard hair, especially when I'm at home. But I think
because you still think about that time you were inside, Rob. And your mind can't help thinking about ways you could have escaped. And one of the ways you could have escaped is a sort of, sort of crazy murder spree using your beard hairs, as you said, as a shiv, sort of attacking guards, inmates, and presumably going to jail for an even longer time than you were there already. Yeah,
but I mean, that would be really playing the long game, because long in terms of how to grow my beard and also long in terms of collecting it all together and trying to, I don't know how to bond it together, and unfortunately there's only one way I can think of doing that at the moment.
I hate to ask this question, Rob, but are hairs on other parts of your body, and I'm thinking in your sort of private areas, are they just a shop?
I don't know. I think how much detail do we want to go into? Let's keep it light. I don't know is the honest answer. I don't think so.
Rob's bald down there, bald as a seal, so he doesn't know.
It is. I've got alopecia, just in my genitals. Anyway,
what the fuck are we talking about?
We're Manchester.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, anyway, headline. Man tried to have sex with part of leaves in a hotel car park.
What is going on this week? Seriously, Rob?
Yeah, it's really quite worrying, actually, Alex.
Yeah. I think it's a New Year.
Is it Christmas?
New Year. When did this happen?
Well, this was October, actually. This was Halloween, actually, saying that.
Tried to have sex with leaves. How does that even work? Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm going to find out.
A drunk and drugged-up man tried to have sex with a pile of leaves in the car park of a Premier Inn, a court has heard.
Oh, my God. Can I just say, number one, I love the phrase drunken, drugged up. Just put them together. Yep. What makes that story is not just a pile of leaves, but it's in a car park of a Premier Inn.
Yeah. It gets more bleak as it goes through. It could only be better if it was a travel lodge.
Oh, I don't know, I think Premier Inn, need to try and feature this somewhere in their adverts. I don't know how.
Or just, maybe they're giving a guided tour of the hotel and they just walk out of the car park, just him in the background, just thrusting away. Trousers round his ankles, but, just including enjoying himself at the same time.
Yeah.
So Michael Golskorki, I think that's close enough, was seen thrusting with his trousers around his ankles in full view of families eating at the Beefeater pub in Stockport.
Well, that's their own fault for eating in the Beefeater, to be honest. Have you ever been to a Beefeater, Rob?
Many years ago, not recently.
Is it nice? Because there's a huge one right near my parents, and it's so fucking massive that I often wanted to go inside and, eat beef.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you're looking for a carvery, it's fine. But see, I haven't frequented a Harvester for quite some time, I have to admit. But in my rankings, I would put a Beefeater below a Harvester, but I may be wrong in thinking that.
I tell you what, Rob, when we go on that trip to Eagle Heights, we will have a look for Harvester or similar type of place that we can eat in.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and we'll review it.
And maybe go on a trip to B&M's just to really top it off.
Rob, you're getting overexcited.
Yeah, you're right. The 26-year-old put up his underwear.
I guess I'll find out if
away.
Rob's pubic hair is very sharp on that trip.
What I'll do is I'll trim it, but not to a lethal extent. The 26-year-old pulled up his underwear before running and hiding in bushes after he was confronted by hotel staff.
Can you imagine them running out there?
Sir, please. Yeah, I mean,
leave the leaves alone.
He emerged from the bushes 10 minutes later, following a request to come out by police during the incident last month.
Come out of the leaves, Darren. It ain't worth it. They're there with a megaphone in the car park, like behind the cars. They've got armed police.
Police helicopter above, shining a spotlight on him. While all the families in the Beefeater just enjoyed their evening meal.
Was he a guest of the Premier Inn? That's what I want to know. Was he actually staying there?
It doesn't say that he was a guest. I mean, I don't know, Alex. If
you're right, actually, Rob, because if he was a guest, he would have taken the leaves back to the room with him and had sex with them in private.
Exactly. Or found a fence that was more convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, there must be a lot of holes in a hotel room if you really think about it.
Or that. Yeah.
So in a statement, an unnamed member of staff said, "My colleague and I were aware of a male acting suspiciously in the hotel car park near to the main entrance. We saw a white man with his trousers down and we could see his bum. There was nothing between me and the male, and he was about a car length away from me, and he appeared to be having sex. At one stage, I shouted to him, 'What are you doing, you dirty bastard?' And he leapt up, pulled up his trousers, and sat in the bushes."
I like that. He sat in the bushes.
Yeah. Well, he obviously earlier maintained that he was hiding there, but no, I think...
Did he say why he was hiding in the leaves?
Well, I mean, let's face it, he was high on something, so maybe he thought he was camouflaged and could be seen.
Did you say this was Manchester?
It is Manchester, it's Stockport, yeah.
I mean, this kind of thing...
It could be monkey dust.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah. We rang the police and I kept shouting, "What are you doing? Clear off." He gave no explanation as to what he was doing. After about 10 minutes, he walked out of the bushes. I can make out bits of his face, but I'd never seen him before. I was concerned for the hotel guests. There were children staying at the hotel.
He's like some sort of weird... Maybe he's like the Yeti of Manchester. This sort of mythical beast. And so what he was doing for his sort of species was perfectly normal. Maybe that's what they do. Have sex with leaves.
Yeah, just walking around trying to find the foliage that once would have covered this part of Stockport, and just longs for a simpler time by having sex with the leaves. Apparently, he was on a combination of cocaine, cannabis, and alcohol. When he was interviewed, he was mortified at the suggestion of what he was doing. Only when piecing the information together was he willing to accept it.
Only when they showed him like CCTV.
The footage.
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
It also goes on to say, which I quite like, as a result of the embarrassment, he has no desire to return to the Premier Inn. Which is fair enough. I don't think I would have felt if I was caught.
If the one good thing that's come out of this is to deterred one person not to stay at a Premier Inn, then it was worth it, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Rob. Before we get to our listener story, even though we've already had a listener story, I know. I mean, there's really no rules anymore, Rob.
No.
I just feel now that it's anarchy.
It is.
I need to read a story out to you, Rob. And it's from the Lancashire Telegraph.
Oh. Is that a new paper? I've never heard of that before.
I know. It's by Andrew Bellard, who is the Magistrates Court reporter. Now, Rob, I want to read you this story to give you an insight because, as you know, Rob, on December the 12th, was it? Can't remember. December the 13th, I think might have been the first day we embarked on this new, likely 5-year Tory government, didn't we, Rob?
Yeah, it was indeed the 12th. Yeah, that's right.
And the Tories have been in charge since 2010.
Yep.
And the Lib Dems are really responsible for that because basically by propping them up initially and then kind of give them a foot up to keep getting elected. I want to give you an insight, Rob, into modern day Tory Britain.
Great. Okay, lovely.
A beautiful insight. So a man, Rob, in dire financial straits after his release from prison, applied for a DWP loan because he had no money.
Of course.
How much do you think they offered him, Rob? Come on.
£11.
Okay, you got 3 guesses. No.
Higher or lower? Or just 3 guesses?
What do you think?
It's the DWP, so lower. £7.
No.
£1 and a dime bar.
8p.
You can't be serious.
You've got to hear this story. So Blackburn magistrates heard that Carl Poynton was looking for cash to tide him over until his benefits were paid, but the DWP computer system calculated that he was entitled to a loan, Rob, of 8p. To add insult to injury, staff there referred him to the local food bank, but when he got there, Rob, it was shut.
This is disgusting.
Rob, this is our country, okay? Poynton, 41 of Stansfield Street, Blackburn, pleaded guilty to 3 offences of shoplifting thereafter. So because they'd only give him 8p, he basically went out and stole. Let's get into all this. So Tracy Yates, prosecuting, said Poynton told police his benefits were not due until the following week. Staff at the benefits agency referred him to the food bank, but it was the one day of the week when they were closed. She said Poynton had been jailed in October for theft offences and was still on a prison licence. So he'd stolen in the past, presumably because this bloke's got no money. Yeah. He went to prison and he was on licence, having been released. Gareth Price, defending, said the stark reality of the situation was whether the magistrate sent his client straight back to custody or gave him a chance. He said Poynton had been released from prison on Christmas Eve with a discharge grant of £46. He had to sort out a claim for benefits, which has now been approved, but it would not be paid until Tuesday. He went to the benefits agency and applied for a loan. He was told he qualified, but the computer calculated that loan at 8p. The food bank was shut, he had nowhere else to turn, and out of desperation he went to Boots and stole some baby items which he hoped to sell.
God, Jesus Christ, that's bleak.
Yeah, it is fucking bleak, but I had to read it out. Just to give you a flavour of the kind of comments you get on these kind of stories, there was one in particular I absolutely had to read out. So this is from Just a Bloke from Lancs. So this, Rob, is an insight into your typical Lancashire voter.
Right.
He says, sorry, but whilst I agree this man should have some support, I don't see the link between stealing baby products to sell to him having no money for food. He could have stolen some food, but he didn't. The reason he didn't is almost certainly because he wanted money for drugs. £46 could have you eating for a long time if you needed to. Rob, was this written by Jacob Rees-Mogg? £46 could have you eating for a long time if you needed to.
Alex, let's face it.
Okay.
No, come on.
Fuck off.
Be honest.
I feel like this makes me fucking angry. £46 could have you eating for a long time if you needed to.
I mean,
although, Rob, you can probably vouch for that because you could probably make that last a long time at Wetherspoons or a Harvester. But nevertheless.
That feels unnecessary. And what I was about to say is that this isn't Jacob Rees-Mogg, because let's face it, where he eats and the way he eats, I imagine £46 would not cover a single meal for him.
No, but if man finishes by saying he wasn't homeless, he didn't have to pay for a bed, he chose, Rob, to steal money not for rent and not for food.
But maybe, just maybe, he didn't know what to do, and so unfortunately may not have been thinking rationally, and so this is why he chose. Because baby products as well.
Okay, Rob, can I just take? You've set me up here. Can I just take it off here just for a second? As what you think? Maybe, just maybe, this man had just got out of prison, right? Because he'd already been gone in there for theft offences because he was destitute, basically, and he just got out of prison, and he tried to help himself by getting benefits, which he was entitled to, presumably for while he sought employment.
Yeah.
And when he went to the DWP and had to sit in front of these people and have a computer tell him how much he was entitled to, when the person operating the computer said, well, the computer says you're entitled to 8p, maybe at that point, Rob, this man sort of felt completely discombobulated, completely disorientated, felt to himself like he was living in some nightmarish dystopian society.
Absolutely. Which
he never could have imagined existed. And out of sheer sort of incoherent desperation, went to Boots and stole some baby equipment thinking, I'll have to sell that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he felt like he was living in some kind of strange comic dream, darkly comic dream.
I think the trouble is these days that people can't really put themselves in other people's shoes. They take things at face value without really thinking of the consequences as to why that they may be in this situation in the first place. I don't know.
One of the commenters here said he could have bought himself 8 penny sweets to tide him over.
I mean, surely that's a joke. You'd hope.
Oh, one would hope. But I think some people out there would say, what the fuck would 8p buy you?
Nothing. Well, that's it. Nothing. Literally nothing. It would buy you nothing.
You can't even buy a fucking Snickers bar.
No. Do you know the book This Is Going to Hurt, by the way?
That sounds very familiar. Who's it
by? Adam, it's by Adam Kay. It's been like a bestseller for a couple of years now. He was a junior doctor.
What's it about, Ramon?
He was a junior doctor in the NHS, and he wrote about his experiences.
Yes.
So I went to go and see the live version of that yesterday. His live show. What was really funny is he was doing, and obviously he is quite a left-wing comedian, and he was talking about his experiences as a junior doctor, and obviously is very critical of the then Home Secretary Jeremy Hunt, who obviously had come out in opposition of the junior doctors and trying to make out that the strike was not about their living standard. It was about salaries, about increasing, all these wealthy doctors who were demanding a change to their working conditions, not the fact that it was in direct opposition to the work time directive from the EU, and the fact that it was clearly in violation of that. Anyway, he was going through this, and he was heckled. There was a man in the upper tier, and he was quoting from he was reading the book and was reading out some facts and saying that under Jeremy Hunt's stewardship, the NHS lost more patients than any other time in history. And a man stood up and just shouted nonsense. This is the reality we're living in, Alex.
Remember, this all started with Michael Gove when he said, we need to stop listening to experts.
Well, I think Adam Kay was prepared for this and just started reeling off the top of his head the facts, and it was astonishing. But
fake news, Rob.
Yeah,
Rob, can I just ask you? Can you stop spreading your sort of British, actually anti-British propaganda? That's what this is.
Yeah, you're right, Alex. Yeah.
You're not patriotic, Rob. You should love our NHS, and instead you're denigrating it. Stop denigrating it, Rob. Rob, it's time to stop denigrating and read out our listener story of the week. What a segue.
Lovely. So this week it's from Jack in Top.
A bit of general anaesthetic back there for the listeners, like it used to be.
Yeah, it just riled me up. He's just like, how dare you come to a theatre in liberal London and do this, you fucking arsehole.
It's time for our listener story of the week. It's time for our listener story of the week. Cunts.
So this is from Jack in Todmorden. He actually writes to say, have we ever featured a story from the Liverpool Echo before? And in answer to your question, Jack, yes, we have, and it was about 20 minutes ago.
Oh no, yeah, you should have been. Yeah, you should have been paying attention, Jack from Todmorden. You should have been paying attention to this podcast. We've had many stories from the Liverpool Echo. Maybe you've been too busy roaming the world, doing whatever it is you do.
I think he's been looking for too many of those adult cream pies, if you ask me.
Okay, Rob, who's it from?
Just leave that there. Well, it's from Jack, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The story is by also a Jack Wright and a Lottie Gibbons. And it's from the 12th of December, so the day of the election, when the Tories won a landslide. Anyway, the headline: Mother accidentally names premature twins after infamous gangsters.
Do you mean okay, go on.
A young mother accidentally named her premature twins after a pair of infamous gangsters.
Not Ronnie and
Reggie, yes.
She called them Ronnie
twins.
and Reggie. In her mind,
Yes.
subconsciously, that was lodged in there, you see, because Ronnie and Reggie is just famous. You know that's the craze, and I think she didn't realise.
Apparently not. She says she never heard of them.
No, but she had. But they just lodged themselves into their subconscious. That's what happened. She might have never read about it, but everybody's heard of Ronnie and Reggie Cray. And I just want to say, to the Cray, because, the Cray family, the remnants of the Cray family might be listening, Robin. They were great men.
Yeah, I completely agree, and have I'd never say a word against them. So Lisa Tarr, 27, gave birth to 2 premature boys in October, and the pair are little fighters from the start, overcoming a nasty bout of bronchitis. She named them Ronnie and Reggie because she kept coming across the names on Google.
Can I just say, Rob, knowing what we know now, you would have been perfect to have been around at that time. You could have been in like the Craze gang, like how they all had names and stuff like that. But they could have called you like Pubes because you were the guy who could garrote people with your pubic hair because it was so sharp. On sort of a dank London alleyway, you're there pulling out a long pubic hair and just garroting somebody with it.
And also, what a way to die. I mean, that's really quite seedy. Would you mind just bear 1 second? I'm gonna, just as I'm there, just rumbling around in my trousers, trying to pull out some pubic hairs to strangle you with.
Yeah.
That really is an enduring image. However, she said she didn't realise that the popular search term was based on Ronnie Cray and Reginald Reggie Cray, the biggest perpetrators of organised crime in East London, in the East End of London. The 4-time mother said that when she announced the names, people asked if they were named after the infamous Cray brothers, but she said she never heard of the pair.
Can I just say, I hate the phrase full-time mother. I think it's fair to say that all mothers are full-time. Do you know what I mean?
No, I've met some part-time mothers, Alex, I'll be honest.
You know what I mean, though. I mean, your average mother is always it doesn't matter. Keep going.
No, I know what you mean. Do we need to go into background as to who the Crays were, just to people want to know?
No, look them up. Look up Roger and Rennie. Look up Ronnie and Reggie Cray.
But Lisa from High Wycombe Bucks said her sons Ronnie and Reggie were not named after the gangsters. She has proudly dressed them in Christmas outfits. Reggie as Santa Claus, suited and booted in red and white, but Ronnie in a cute elf costume with a pointy hat. She said, I kept Googling for boys' names and these 2 kept coming up.
That's right, that's how it happened. People were taking the piss. Can I just say, she might have a bit of a problem with school admissions when she gets there.
Yeah, it's in Liverpool. She should be okay. I mean, if it's London, that might be an issue.
Absolutely fine. Yeah, they'll be welcome with open arms. Rob, can I just say, we are running out of time. I'm aware that we need to spell out the word anaesthetic according to a theme. Do you have one? We could come up with fake gangster names.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Okay, so look, everybody, thank you very much, Jack from Todmorden, for that story. And Rob, as we bring this episode to a close, we really do look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, Rob. Our 300th episode. Is that going to be a listener? Have we got enough listener stories? Are we going to ask people to submit everything they can find?
We've got enough, I think. We can easily do a listener. I think we need to...
And please send more, then, because we want them all to be high quality.
Yeah. We need to do something else as well. We need to make it... I don't know. Let's talk off the podcast. We need to do something really...
Just get a couple of party
special.
poppers. party poppers, Rob. That's fine.
Okay, fine.
Listen.
Disappointing, but fine.
Yeah, well, no, those. Do you remember that we? Yeah. Anyway, we'll wear hats. Listen,
I've got a sparkler.
Rob, we're not talking about.
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. You need to go and see a doctor. I've been telling you. We can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/lapodcast. We are on Twitter at @lapodcast. We are on Spotify. We are on all the podcast apps. Just search for us, subscribe, leave us a review on our website, lapodcast.net. There's a donate button in the top right-hand corner. Donate to us if you want to leave us a tip or a rolling donation. We appreciate it. Spread the word. Get it out there. Keep listening. We really appreciate you being here with us. If you want to send us a story, send it to lapodcast.net @gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net @gmail.com. That might be the quickest I've ever done that, Rob. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good. Well done.
Right, we are now going to spell out the word anaesthetic, which is a complicated word to spell, especially the English version, according to a theme. Did we have any feedback last week about our New Year's resolutions? Did people enjoy that? I mean, I think they always do.
There's been no feedback, but I'm hoping...
I think no feedback is good feedback, Rob.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Rob, we have to get on with it. For A, we're coming up with gangster names. Alfie the Tit. There must have been a gangster called Alfie the Tit.
I would have thought so, yeah. N, so Nicky the Carpet Magnally.
Why is he called the Carpet? You didn't ask me why Alfie was called the Tit, by the way.
I just assumed he was an idiot.
That, and he smothers people, Rob, to death with his nipples.
Breast, with his bare breast. Right,
yeah, because he's fat and he can smother people. So why is this guy called the Carpet? Presumably because when he's finished with them, he rolls them up in a carpet, shoves them into a canal.
Exactly, Alex. It goes without saying. Yeah, exactly.
Am I on A?
Yeah.
Albert the Salmon Finch.
Right. What? Why?
Because he kills people, Rob, by force feeding them salmon until their stomach ruptures.
Oh God, that's horrendous.
And the other gangster says this is a mistake. Salmon is a high quality, fish. It costs money. Use cod, but he won't. It's got to be salmon because he says it fills the belly quicker.
God. Okay. E. Well, obviously, I mean, he had quite a reputation back in his day. It's Eddie Three Hammers.
Right. I don't think that needs explanation.
No.
Does it?
I mean, he had a hammer in his left and a hammer in his right, and he had a hammer secreted in other places as well, just for emergencies.
Am I on S?
Yeah.
Do you realise that this basically involves me trying to think up horrible ways for people to die?
Of course, that's how it goes.
Stevie Shitface McGraw.
Was he just drunk all the time? Is that what it was?
No. When he was sent out to do a job, Rob, that person was, waterboarded in feces.
Oh God, that's quite an image there. Okay, so what are we on? T. Terry the Tractor Williams.
Again, yeah. It involves a tractor. That's quite scary.
No, it doesn't. No, that's where it's misleading. It doesn't involve a tractor.
Right.
It involves a thresher. It's even worse.
It involves a what?
A thresher.
Do you expect people to know what that is?
Yeah, I don't know. Do people know what a thresher is? It's one of those things that cuts wood, and I mean, it's quite gruesome. You should Google it.
Well, I don't know why he's called that then. H, it's got to be. Did you already have Harry?
No.
Okay.
But it has to be Harry.
Yeah, well, I knew it had to be Harry. Harry the hacksaw, Rob.
Again, Alex, very, very, very grim.
It is, but I have to tell you, it's removing the penis, Rob, to force people to talk, and then you can have it back when you're finished. If you spill your guts, you can have it back.
So E. I think I'm on E. Yeah. So this would be Edward the Gent Asquith.
Right.
Yep.
You want to tell me anything about him, or is that it?
No. I fear for my life.
What are we on now? T.
Yeah.
Tommy the Dice Roberts.
Right.
Basically, if he comes looking for you, he's always got a pair of dice with him, and whatever he rolls on that dice will denote the way that you're going to die or suffer. He's got that written in his pocket. Yeah, he's got that written in his pocket. 1 to 6. All of them are not good, Rob.
I thought it was like Two-Face. You get an odds, you live. You get an even, you die. That kind of thing. But
well,
anyway, never mind.
he sometimes does that too. Yeah, I mean, he's got a range of sort of party tricks.
So Ian Hatchet. Oh no, we've done Hatchet. I need another one. Ian Icepick Harris.
Okay, I think we. I thought you were going to go with Inglebert. Well, that begins with an E, I think.
It does, yes.
Yes, that wouldn't have worked. And Colin the Crab Harris.
Of course, his brother, Ian's brother.
Yeah, it is.
So one carves some ice for you for a nice gin and tonic. The other serves.
The other one kills you, Rob, with live crabs. You get put in a bath, right?
That's going to take a long time.
Rob, you get put in a bath, and literally hundreds of ravenous crabs are placed upon you.
I think that would take some time.
I feel like my contributions to this were more disturbed than yours.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think anyone's surprised by that.
Thank you. We will see you all next week for our 300th episode, everybody. Make sure you tune in and make sure you send us stories beforehand. Go out there, get searching, get the best stories you can find. We want every story to be top drawer. God bless.
And keep it local.